So we'll see what happens.
Maybe close out any other shit you're running. Or do like a full restart.
Yeah, sometimes I have to do Discord on my phone.
Alright, yeah, I'll restart.
Stan, you could return your computer to factory settings. That might work.
I heard if you close out all the tabs on your Internet Explorer, or that'll help.
I just close Chrome entirely and reopen it, because otherwise you get memory leaks.
I don't know what that means as far as computers go, but I feel it on a very personal level.
A memory leak is like any application that as time goes by, it slowly consumes more and more of your RAM, like your rapid access memory. And so it gets to the point sometimes if you leave a program open long enough that it will consume all of the RAM, so if you try to open up something else, it will die. But if you close that program and reopen it, then it will free up all of that RAM for you.
Yeah, see, if you just replace the word RAM with snacks, that's pretty good distance.
Yeah, there you go. Your computer only has so much room in the fridge. And your soup is spilling over into the rest of this? I don't know.
It's all soup.
It's all soup all the way down.
I mean, if application for friends, right? And like, you know, Chrome comes over and you're hanging out and is slowly eating all of your snacks, and you'll have no snacks left. Then you have to kick Chrome out.
That makes so much sense.
Ooh. Replenish the snacks, and then Chrome can come back in. Maybe with like $20 to like comp you. Just, you know, that was a real dick move.
Yeah, I like where this is going. I feel like we're on the cutting edge of a brand new and helpful explanation for what a memory leak is. We're like real close. I was gonna do a thing. Oh, I gotta check the Twitch to make sure it's not broken.
We all very recently, achieved the same level, correct?
Yes,
Everybody, level 8. Is there a way to update that in the Foundry interface? Like, I see it, but it still says 7 for me, and I didn't know how to level up.
Oh, on your character sheet? Yeah,
Yeah.
you can edit that where it says in your, if you go to your character and then go to features under artificer, you can edit that.
Ah, gotcha. Thank you.
But you probably won't need to do anything with your level 8 abilities, since this is all kind of like a... I was considering it like a session 0 for chapter 2.
Sure. I just wanted to have even overlap between D&D Beyond and what I was using in Foundry.
Yeah, no, I get it. So is everybody in here? I'm missing... Oh, Stan still.
I'm back.
Are you connected to the game?
Connecting now.
Ooh, Stan, you are pure robot.
Is he Terran now? Or is he... Oh, shoot. Where's he?
Hayeza, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah.
No, you should be Terran.
Could be Terran.
So, Stan, are you still a robot?
Alright, is this better?
Yeah, a lot better. What'd you do? Alright, keep your secrets.
Really personal question, John.
Yeah, sorry. That's my bad. So I guess we can just like do a brief recap. Laurel was nice enough to do that session summary, which she sent to me and I copy pasted, so it looked like I did all of it.
Yeah.
And anyways, it's pretty comprehensive. You guys basically spent the last session, you know, tying off loose ends that you, or tying up loose ends that you had in Mossstone. You were awarded gifts, including a number of guild coins, and you were, you know, Isolde was given a promotion, basically. You guys went off and kind of went on your separate ways to train. And then we kind of had this month off where I built all of the rest of the world that was relatively unbuilt that you're about to explore. And yeah, in that time, your characters kind of accomplished their 3 weeks of training stuff. And then Leif is going to show up later. So if we get past where Damon's scenes are, and he comes in and we have to like retcon it back, that's fine. I don't really mind. That's what we'll do. So we left off with Terran and Vosner's quest, where they went to track down Rusty, a ancient bronze dragon who lives in Firedrake Bay, and they were successful. And there's some things that went down in this training time that it's privileged information. So I talked with Stan about this last night. So he learned some things and had some conversations with Azor, basically, or with Rusty, and in those conversations, anyways, Vosner was not present for those. And then I did want to accent something that Vosner was present for, which was at some point Rusty expressed concern about what's been going on in Firedrake Bay, this kind of place that he's been looking over or watching over for a very long time. And at one point, sort of as kind of like a proof of concept to test Vosner's new ability to transform into a flying creature, Rusty, with Terran kind of on his back, flew with Vosner to a island in the middle of Firedrake Bay, where he and I don't have any art for this, sorry. It was hard. I was trying to my hardest to find it, but I was like, you know, there's only so much Google can do, and finding an island that's vacant is a very strange art ask. But essentially what you find is a number of islands, one of which is the island that you went to when you had your dealing with the dandies, has been entirely vacated, with the curious problem that all of the gold and loot still remains, and that it appears that there was a struggle, and that you know, things were damaged, and that there was a fight, and yet none of the bodies remain. There's no, you know, there's traces of blood, but there's no corpses. There's no evidence that any of them were buried. And then he takes you to another island where he basically points out there's a batch of the water walkers, the kind of exiled Ketelonian pirates, had been, and he notes the same phenomenon, that the island is essentially vacant, everybody's missing, and they left behind things, which is curious. And Rusty basically tells you that he anticipates that this was the work of that crew of undead pirates that's been causing trouble in Firedrake Bay, but that they're gone for now, and he doesn't know where they've gone. And in his sort of deal to train Terran, and his deal to kind of work with Vosner to give him the ability to transform into at least a semblance of a dragon, he asks that one day you guys come back and help him deal with these pirates.
Nice. Vosner would definitely agree. It's very troubling that whole groups of people who are trained in combat just disappear. So.
Yeah. So one of the things Rusty would say to that, in addition to other things, is that he's watching over the Isle of Gunderlin because he's worried that they could be struck next. But he acknowledges that the Isle of Gunderlin is it's full of formidable warriors, and he will do what he can to protect it in the case that they do attack. But currently, they're missing. They're not in the bay. Those undead pirates.
Vosner would ask, is there a way, if anything gets too out of hand, is there a way that you can contact us so that we would know and prioritize coming back?
Yeah. Rusty is a very capable wizard, and he is very able to send messages, or use sending, and but he, there's not much you could do from so far away, so there are limitations there. But he's just kind of saying, this is something we'll tend to when you return. So narratively, I just want to let you guys know there's kind of a open-ended quest chain here that you don't have to worry about exactly right now. We'll get to it when we get to it, but I just wanted to explain where you guys are at on that.
Alright, awesome. Am I connected now? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
Alright, sweet. I moved to my phone, so.
Very good. Okay, so I have a number of things I want to get to. Oh yeah, I was going to do this scene on the beach, but I guess I won't. The next thing I want to do is to kind of conclude DeMarcus's training. So DeMarcus has been training basically non-stop, getting as swole as possible for the last 3 weeks. And at the end of it, sort of when Dorn knows that things are starting to move towards the next stage and that DeMarcus will soon be leaving, Dorn would show up in the Hall of Gods while DeMarcus is praying and just say, like, hello.
Master Dorn, hello.
I see that your training has been going well.
It has been. I'm thankful for it.
I understand that you're soon to leave.
Yes, it looks like we'll be heading up north to handle the portal situation up there. I'm not really sure what to expect.
Well, you're with a very capable group of adventurers. I'm sure you will be able to figure it out. This is sort of a rite of passage for many of us, and so, well, I wish you luck. And he pulls a book out of his pocket, or out of his, I don't know, toga. out of his backpack that he's wearing, his fanny pack, and he hands it to you. And you read the cover, and it's this very nice, well-made tome that says, the Book of Ancient Religions. And he hands it to you and says, in moments where you need to understand what it is we're doing this for, maybe this book will guide you as it did for me. And he hands it to you.
Yeah, DeMarcus sort of very gratefully bows and takes a look at the cover really quick and kind of tell what he means and says, "Thank you, Master Dorm. I don't quite know what to say, but I'm sure you've been able to detect for a while that, well, for the first time in my life, to be honest with you, I'm not totally clear where my faith is heading or what motivates it. So I thank you for giving me this book, because I'm sure that you're giving me a way to come to some clarity with this."
Yes. Well, we all struggle with these questions. It is sometimes best to look to your friends and follow their lead. If you've surrounded yourself with the kind of people that I think you have, I'm sure they'll lead you down the right path.
DeMarcus kind of very thoughtfully looks off, as though that was something that he had been considering a lot, and he nods and just gratefully says, "Thank you."
Well, at least you'll be, 2,000 miles away from the prying eyes of the nobility of Tethier for the next few months.
I might even be able to take this ring off.
Oh yes, I am pretty sure Marin asked for that back, so don't forget.
Do you think I should give it back to him before I leave?
Oh yes, absolutely. There is no need for a disguise in, where you're going.
Very good.
Is there anything you want to ask before you leave?
What's your plans here while we're gone?
Well, we're actually expecting a new batch of recruits pretty soon here. The guild is continuing on doing what it does best, training new and novice adventurers.
I'm very happy to hear that. I was worried.
Yes, well, the delay in new recruits was only a momentary blip. Once the cult of Cyric was dealt with, we didn't have much stopping us from continuing on in our greater mission.
Speaking of the cult, I suspect that Cyric will continue to try to free himself and take power as he normally does. You think that for the cult of Cyric as a threat is over, or do you have any reason to believe that the cult is spread throughout Faerun, or that Cyric's plans extend to, say, the north where I'll be heading?
I am sure that the cult of Cyric spreads throughout all of Faerun. How powerful it is and whether they will act on that power is a different matter. I don't anticipate another attack on the guild for a long time. They used a lot of resources. Even for a cult as connected as theirs, the amount of gold and resources they funneled into this attack must have been, it was very substantial, so I don't see them anteing up and doing it again anytime soon.
I'm happy to hear that. Do you know of any similar types of undead or evil things that I should expect in the north?
The north is a place of great hostility. The weather seems to bring friends closer together, but separate people into tribes. And with resources as limited as they get in the harsh climate, the tribes tend to be at constant war. So, will you meet evil things? I imagine a great deal of them. Some of them are not by nature evil, but are perhaps desperate or troubled. So, these are judgments you will have to make on your own on a case-by-case basis. But yes, I'm sure there's a cult of Cyric in Luskan, just as there was a cult of Cyric in Mossstone, and cults of worse things, perhaps.
Unfortunately, our work never ends.
Indeed. But keeps us employed, I suppose.
It does. Thank you again, Master Dorn.
Indeed. And don't forget the value of having your mount up north. If you're traveling as far as I think you are, it could prove useful, even if only to carry the sick or aid in some other way.
Yeah, DeMarcus very, knowingly nods and says, yes, thank you for helping me to remember that a paladin without a mount is only a half a paladin.
Indeed. And when you're powerful enough to ride a mount that flies, it becomes even more the case.
DeMarcus kind of smiles to himself and just says, I think for now it's probably best that I stay on the ground.
Oh yes, indeed. And unless there's anything else you want out of that scene, we can just move on to, well, this one was Damon's, but we can skip that for now.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else.
Okay, let's go to Dylan. Dylan, you had a few things kind of in the works, one of which I want to speak to, but the other one I still want to know from you. What is it that you plan to do with the remains of the dragon? Did you look into the magic item stuff?
I did, and like all good things, I have 3 things that I think are pretty good. So a package of 3 that I think I'd like to put up for the squad to see if any of them seems most useful or just most interesting.
Okay.
So I'll try to make a case for each one. And I have some links that I'm going to try to copy in the chat that I hope you can just click to see what I'm looking at. So the first thing was what we had asked for. Oh, that's... No, can you not share links in the chat?
Oh, I don't know.
Dude, let me do it on Discord. So this was the standard Wand of the War Mage. I believe Taryn asked for a +2 wand. So we could do that, but I'm not going to make much of a case for it because it's pretty standard, but pretty reliable. So we could get a +2 weapon. And if we wanted to, these are all rare magic items, by the way, John. So I think I'm trying to stay within the limits there. We could also make it a wand of fireballs, since fire is fun. And if that's the case, it has 7 charges, each of which is a free cast of the 3rd level version of fireballs. So, and then you can recharge it daily at dawn with a number of charges. So it would be a wand that isn't +2, but instead has a number of free casts of 3rd level fireball, which could be a lot of fun in combat. So those are the 2 wand possibilities. Something I think a little more interesting is it's just 1 item for now. It's a ring of spell storing. And what I can do is it's basically a free cast of an artificer spell just for somebody to have. 5 levels worth. Sorry, I'm reading at the same time.
Yeah, it's like 5 levels of a spells. So you could put a 5th level spell, or 4 first level spells, or 5 first level spells, or mix it up. So a 4th level spell and a first level spell or something. For the record, I don't know if you remember the thing I sent you. I sent you a PDF with possible magic items on it. Do you remember?
I'm digging. Let me see.
Yeah. So just so you know, the Wand of Fireballs and the Ring of Spell Storing are both 20,000 gold plus items, and so I'm gonna have to be the lame DM and say that's for later when you guys are gods.
No. Okay, so we're gonna X the Ring of Spell Storing.
Yeah.
Okay. In that case, just while it's on my mind, actually, I think you'd be able to do this on D&D Beyond if you can access my character sheet and see what happens at level 11. That might influence.
Are you talking to me or everybody?
Yeah. No, just you. I don't know if other people can access my character sheet. Here, let me just send it to you. Sorry, everybody. There's a direct message.
Oh yeah, no, that's different because it's capped by a certain level. So you can only use first or second level spells. And that's a class ability, so you worked really hard to get level 11 so you could do that. Whereas a Ring of Spell Storing gives you up to a 5th level spell, and anyways it costs 20,000 gold to buy one.
Oh, okay, well then, so much for that. I thought it was cool.
No, it is very cool. In fact, it's one of the coolest things. It's one of the most highly recommended magic items for casters because it makes you much more powerful.
Got it. So a good choice, but beyond the realms of possibility. However,
yeah.
I will commit that project to create cheaply and efficiently such an object to Missile's ongoing projects. So.
Yeah, dude. If you want to be constantly engineering a spell storing ring so that in 5 levels you make one, I can do that.
Let's do that. That would be cool. In this case, let's assume that during my time off with the last thing I sent you, these figurines of wondrous power, that Missile has been spending a lot of time in the library, and he's found translated copies, maybe not always translated well, copies of texts on creating little magical creatures in the same way that Missile has created Mortimer. But whereas Mortimer is mechanical and made of metal, these creatures were made of more natural objects like wood or stone. And he was curious to see if he could replicate such figurines of wondrous power given his practice with something like Mortimer. And so, presumably, out of bone, I could carve such a figurine as the group thinks would be cool. We could do a fly, a griffin, goats, a number of them there.
Yeah. So, I can't remember exactly how all these work. I know what you're talking about. And some of them have various powers. Yeah, I have no problem with you being able to craft one of these eventually, depending on which one it is. And so maybe you're learning, through your investigation into these books, you're learning how to make a mechanical version of one of these. I think that's entirely possible. But I'm going to have to look on a case-by-case basis, because some of these are, legendary, and some of them are uncommon, or I guess the highest is rare, but...
Yeah, I see a very rare we could neglect, but just if I'm carving something out of a bone, it seemed like this would be neat, so...
Yeah, no, let's, table that and come back to it.
Got it.
For sure. That's an interesting avenue I hadn't thought of. And this is the kind of stuff that I was, asking you guys for in that message. What's some weird shit that, maybe you want to pursue that would be a long-term goal that, maybe you could discover shit about?
I hadn't been thinking of this as long-term. I thought I have these dinosaur bones that find the magic item and plop, there it is. So I wasn't thinking of it long term, and I guess that's my fault.
Oh, you mean the dragon bones?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, maybe you can use some of the bones to make one of these items. Which one were you thinking of?
I was going to leave it up to the group to help, but I thought the Ring of Spell Storing obviously was the coolest, and so we can set that aside. Then, of course, the Figurine of Wondrous Power, I thought, could lead to the most interesting sort of group dynamics.
Yeah, but I think the figurine is always like you pick which one it is. Not
Sure.
it's all these things. So if you were like, I want to make a marble elephant kind of thing or something like that, then
Okay. I guess crew. Which of these sounds cool? Speak up when you hear one that's cool. Bronze Griffin, Ebony Fly. Yeah, a fucking fly. A griffin, lions, goats, elephant, dog, owl,
These
raven.
goats are hilarious.
Yeah.
You can make a large goat with the same stats as a riding horse. You can make a giant goat. Or you can make a goat of terror. The goat can't attack, but you can remove its horns and use them as weapons? What the fuck?
we're getting into like zany antics shit with this.
Yeah, yeah.
I am a gnome after all.
Yeah. So
I'll leave it up to you. If any of these seem impossible, strike it, and if there's one that you think is appropriate, we'll go for that.
I was like thinking, like turn the wings of the dragon into a cloak of protection, not like use the dragon bones to make angry goats.
See, I was trying to stick as literally as possible to what I could make out of bone, and making a cloak out of bone seemed improbable.
Oh, you have all the parts of the dragon. You broke it down like a chef.
I was just thinking bone.
Well, that's what we said.
Unreliable.
That's what we said about the wand could be made from the bone, but you can make a shit ton of stuff from a dragon, including like.
Are you sticking to just rare items?
Well, okay, so here's what we did. I let him roll, and then I said rare, and then I looked it up and realized that like rare includes a helm of teleportation that should cost like 70,000 gold. So that's not quite right. So I told Dylan to cap it at an item that was, or basically items up to 5,000 gold, and then I gave him a spreadsheet of how much things cost.
I don't remember any of that.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, we were talking about it in the hallway at school. So I will.
All right.
It's okay.
Well,
we can revisit it, and
Yeah.
you don't have to have. And that maybe that's even better. We'll go up north, and then you can kind of be like, and I made these things when we were in Mossstone.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's
All right.
Boots of Winterlands.
It was over the sheer volume of possible things to make was overwhelming, and so
Sure.
I
Yeah.
figured 3 things out of bone that are rare would be simple. But I will.
Yeah. So
there's the conflict.
we'll return to it. No big deal. And then the other thing I wanted to give you was that you or that Missile was looking for relics, and he's basically been like a archaeologist almost of the Netherese Empire, looking for automaton parts and information. And so that was another major part. And so what I was going to do was point out that in the lower library area, while Missile was studying all those books, he found evidence that there might be Netherese ruins in the city of Luskan and where they are. And so I'm going to activate this map. Let me know if you guys can't see it. And,
that's beautiful.
And so you found an old map of Luskan This is like it from a long time ago. So some of the names will change. This is the map we're going to be using for the campaign, so,
So cool.
anyways, just imagine you didn't find it with all these markings on it yet. And down in the bottom middle there, you can see what I've marked as the ruins of Ilusk, which was the empire, the Netherese city that was once here a long time ago. And so you get like a little bit of information concerning the fact that there's some Netherese ruins there, and that they might have automaton machine stuff there for you.
Awesome.
And
super cool.
And so that's and we'll return to the magic items that you make, and I'll make sure that all that's more clear. And I'm going to give you a list of what things cost in a little bit, and so you can use that, and
cool.
That'll be more helpful.
Yeah, we'll draw from the same list.
Yeah. And okay, so that's all I have for Missile, unless Missile wants to talk to somebody or do anything.
Let me check my notes, but I think we could do it later this session or the next session, but just preparing for the trip to Icewind Dale and Luskin would be worth finding somebody to talk about. But yeah, we can do that later.
Oh, preparing for the trip?
What to expect.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm going to have a little spiel that we can just imagine Isolde relays some of that information to you, because I'm going to have a little spiel between Isolde and Marin.
Got it.
Speaking of... one sec. Yeah, okay, so the next scene I had in mind was Isolde and Marin. Oh wait, I gotta make sure you guys can all see this. Yeah, I think you guys can all see this, right?
Yeah.
Well, Isolde will definitely be able to see it, because she's on the thing, but if you guys can't see it, let me know and I'll fix it. And so, prior to your trip, Marin would like to meet with Isolde in private, and he has her come down to this room, which you remember is the on the second level of the basement of the guild, what was kind of known as the battle room, where Malton Fairhold was camped out for a month and a half with all of his blueprints, trying to map out the lower levels, while the guild was making kind of quests into it to excavate it and clean it out. And he sees you walk in, and
You guys hear me?
I can hear you.
I can. All my audio cut out for a second.
no,
Yeah.
sorry, it was me. I cut out. So you come in, and Marin smiles at you.
Hello, Master Marin.
Hello. Thank you for meeting me here. This room doesn't see much use anymore, so I thought, why not make it a place for formal meetings?
Seems fitting.
Indeed. I would like to speak to you about your mission up north.
Anything about it in particular?
Well, based on our previous conversations, it seems to me that you're interested in getting to Luskin by traveling there from Silvery Moon. Is that still correct?
Yes, if that sort of travel can be arranged.
Yes, it can and it has. I just wanted to confirm. The trip from Silvery Moon to Luskin is long, but it is just as perhaps dangerous as any other road to get you to that city.
Understood.
But I wanted to be sure that you had everything you needed. The trip will be long and it will be cold, and you, of all people, will know just how dangerous that can be.
Yes, I have never been to Silvery Moon, but I know that we are certainly going to need better clothing. I don't know if that's something that we can purchase here or that we should seek out in Silvery Moon.
The market at Silvery Moon is a fantastic place, and well, I'm sure you have the gold to equip yourselves with the right gear, and just see to it that you make sure everybody in your group is well equipped.
Oh, of course. Yes, I think I will have to prepare them for a number of things besides the cold.
Indeed. There's another matter that, well, I'd like to speak to all of Bear Squad about, but I will leave it to you on who and where to and when to disseminate this information. The guild is part of a larger, grander operation that, well, I am a member of, and a ranking member at that, but I am not the leader of it. And in embarking on this quest, you are embarking on, well, you're part of a bigger whole at this point. And I'd like you to know that the head of Silvery Moon, the High Wizard, a man named Tern, he is also a member and can be trusted.
Is that someone that we are likely to meet?
I understand that he will request to meet you upon arrival in the city.
All right. And he knows we are coming, I assume, and where we are coming from and why?
Yes, he knows all of that. In fact, he will probably have advice on the best route to get to Luskin.
All right. Now, you had mentioned at some point that there were individuals who were going to try and figure out where the staff is that we're looking for. Is that the same mages that you are talking about now?
I'm sure that Tern has people researching it on the ground. I believe Missile was able to learn some information, at least concerning its more recent history, but I fear that you will probably have to, look into it, investigate it yourselves in order to find out. As far as other agents working on your behalf, we're pretty stretched thin at this point. The guild is sending all of its senior squads halfway across Faerun in search of different staffs, and so, there's only so much we can do. That said, I do want to tell you that, being part of this larger organization is both a blessing and a curse. It also means that the forces that are working against us are much more powerful and much more well-connected than perhaps the cult of Cyric ever was.
You mean forces that are working against this larger organization directly?
Yes, though directly is not perhaps the best word. There are forces in this world that are unspeakably evil. Forces that their whole goal hinges upon the dismantling and destruction of life and matter itself. I fear that these are the kind of individuals that we find ourselves up against. And, well, I just have to warn you that if you come across any of them, you must be prepared to fight for your life.
And are they organized in the way that the cult of Sirik was, such that we might be able to recognize them as signs or symbols?
If they were recognizable, they would be much easier to deal with. The problem is that they infiltrate and corrupt almost every organization that operates in the continent of Faerun. The only exception so far seems to be this organization I'm a member of, that Taryn is also a member of. The other members are, well, I'm not allowed to tell you who they are, but if you're ever in need and they're around, I'm sure they will make themselves known to you, as you are considered, and your squad is considered, a part of this entire operation.
And what is it called, this larger organization?
Yes, we call ourselves... Hold on, let me check my notes, I forgot what I call it.
You're fine.
Oh yeah, it's the Wizards Alliance.
Okay.
He
So
says...
we are
Oh, sorry.
kind of honorary members then.
Yes, though the organization itself is not known to people who are outside of it, nor is it known to any except for a few major government and political officials. Of course, Queen Sabine is very aware of this organization and is in support of it. But our domain stretches far beyond just Tethier. We are, well, a source fighting for goodness in almost every known country of this continent.
But I should not perhaps speak very openly about the organization.
Precisely. It is not something you can clearly claim and expect any sort of hospitality other than in places where, like Silvery Moon, where Tairn would recognize this, and I am sure he will be very generous with how he treats you in that city. But such generosity will fade as soon as you leave the shores of Silvery Moon. I fear that in the north you will have to maintain a certain level of discretion. Fancy, well-armored folk coming from the south claiming to be part of a grand organization are bound to draw great attention and, well, great misfortune.
I can understand that. 'Tis not the most charitable place.
Yes. So your work in the north must be done in the guise of just being a group of bold adventurers seeking treasure. I suggest that if anybody asks, this is what you're there for.
Understood. I will impress the importance of that on my colleagues.
Rest assured, if you do encounter someone from the Alliance, they will know who you are before you identify yourself, and they will let you know that they are on your side.
I will trust that.
And another thing, as a squad captain and as a member who is going off to a very faraway place, you know that, or at least you should know that, you are free to make decisions on your own regarding who comes and goes in your squad. If someone becomes corrupt or is unable to continue the mission, you may remove them. These are your decisions.
I understand. I hope that it does not come to that, but I understand what you mean.
Of course, and that goes for acquiring new members. If something happens to members of Bear Squad and you are unable to bring them back, you have permission of the guild to hire on new members, and I will leave it to your discretion on who you choose and how you motivate them being there, but, well, it is up to you.
Is there information that should not be shared, even if we do acquire new members?
Well, any new member who's not been vetted by the guild should probably not be told about what's happening here, especially not your role in the larger alliance that we're part of. Motivate them with gold. Motivate them with promises of treasure. These are my suggestions.
It makes sense to me. Like I said, I hope it does not come to that, but if it does, I will know what to do at least.
Indeed. We are long past the days of helping farmers deal with dire wolves, I'm afraid.
Yes.
And yet, I suppose the dire wolves will always be there, and that is why the next class of guild squads will soon be on their way.
Oh, you are reopening the doors then?
Yes, there has been a great interest in it. Now with the cult of Cyric gone, we plan on bringing back our normal recruitment system, bringing in some fresh squads now that these halls are going to be relatively empty with Lion and Dragon and Gopher and Bear Squad all out in the world doing their thing. It's time that we got back to teaching the young adventurers and helping Mossstone again.
I am glad to hear it. It would seem a shame to have such powerful teachers with no students.
Indeed. With the exception of the monk department, which has been vacant since Epikai's demise, all the rest of these teachers are relatively unemployed at the moment, so best to put them back to work.
Yes.
Let Johoff know that if he isn't interested in coming up north, he has an open invitation to serve as an adjunct instructor, if you will, at the guild. We could always use a monk of his capabilities, and I'm sure he would have a lot to teach our young adventuring squads.
I will pass that on. Is there anything else that I should know before we depart?
Concerning Icewind Dale, you should know that while Luskan isn't quite as north as your home, things have been rough up there the past few months. This winter, much like the last winter, has been very harsh, and, well, if you feel the call to check in on your family, I would understand. It is, from my reports, a very dangerous time in Ten Towns.
What have you heard?
Not much, other than reports that conflict between the folks of Ten Towns and the barbarians has become heated. And, well, I'm sure Bryn Shader will be fine with its strong, sturdy walls, but the rest of the towns may be subject to great harm.
I'm a bit worried to hear that, if I'm honest, but yes, perhaps when we're up there I will take some time to go and see my home.
Yes, I believe that upon completing this quest, you will have earned yourself quite a bit of leave.
Well, I will keep in touch as time goes on. I assume that the Ring of Amanatur will keep us in close connection, so if we do decide to go north of Luskan, I will let you know.
I'll count on it.
Well, I should take some time to talk to my squad.
Yes, please do. Tomorrow, you will depart for Silvery Moon. Be sure to bring any belongings you desire and spend any guild coins. It might be quite a while before you can do it again.
Understood. Thank you, Master Marin.
Take care.
And I'll go back to the barracks.
Sweet. Is Leif here yet? That's a nope. Okay, he said he's close, so we can do his thing next. But let's do. I don't really have anything else planned. I thought maybe the guild would go to the Lee Wind, but I didn't want to assume that.
Yeah,
I've
I
also
had
got
mentioned
to
that
burn.
I wanted to talk to Joha for a little bit. Oh, go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, just I mean, whenever you want to fit it in, because it'll probably just be a tedious thing. So if we've got
What are you
time.
doing?
But yeah, I think we would go to Leland.
Oh.
I've got some guild coins to burn before we go.
Yeah, I've got some too. If I'm back.
Yeah, so why don't we plan on the end of the session being kind of the shopping part, and we'll just retcon, if you guys leave Mossstone, we'll just retcon that you're back there getting your shit. So there's no need to worry about like, oh shit, we left and I didn't get to spend all my shit. We'll make sure that all happens. And then the same thing with Dylan crafting an item and that kind of thing.
I would give the ring to Marin. We can just do it, unless.
Oh, I got a scene for all of that, so no worries. And yeah, the only thing I still haven't, that I have like kind of in like sorry, in my list of things that probably should happen in a certain order, Damon wants to chat with Marin at some point, and I figured you guys would go to talk to Johoff at the Leewin.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do the Leewin thing, because we still don't have Leif yet. Okay, so what's Johoff doing when the gang shows up to the Leewin?
He's drinking.
He's drinking?
Throwing back a pint.
Nice. Is it still like loading for all of you guys?
Yeah, I've still got a screen.
Yeah,
All right. I mean, we don't have to play it this way. I guess I hadn't planned on a, I guess let's like back up 2 seconds. Are Vosner and Terran actually at this meeting? Or do we want to have them arrive later?
I'm cool either way.
I don't mind coming in later.
Okay, so we'll just pretend that Vosner and Terran aren't here in this scene, and that it is Isolde, DeMarcus, and I guess Missile and Damon if they want to be. Leif's not here yet, so I'm not quite sure, but we'll just say Damon. Yeah, so we'll just say Damon's not here either. Is Missile here? Would Missile come to see if Johoff wants to come on the adventure, or would Missile still be doing other shit?
Said in the comments that he's going to be gone for a minute.
Oh, okay. So Missile is also researching shit. So Isolde and DeMarcus go to meet with Johoff.
That's fair.
And when you come in the room, Tommy, the bartender, kind of like looks behind you guys, and then when the door closes and like is for sure shut and nobody else is coming, he's just like, yeah, all right.
I would say to Tommy, Tyrion couldn't be here today, Tommy, I'm sorry. Because I think that I've probably been going to hang out with Johoff a handful of times over the past couple weeks.
You know, feeling any better since the last time I saw you? Well, you couldn't even sit on a stool properly.
It's funny, I don't remember.
Yeah, it's not surprising to me. Have any word on that dragon fella that's been gone for a while?
Yes, I'm sure he'll be back soon, Tommy. He's told me to tell you that he misses you.
Have you been giving him my letters?
Yeah.
God, I don't know why he doesn't write back.
He's been very busy. He's told me that he's gonna respond. He'll be right on it.
I look forward to it. Sorry, you're probably here to see Joe off.
Correct. Is Joe Huff just like at the bar?
I'm at a table over a little ways from the bar.
I go sit next to Joe Hoff and I order a beer and I say, "Hello, friend. How are you doing today?"
Well, not so bad, right? You look like you're doing a little better than last time I saw you. Green around the gills, you was.
Oh, like I told Tommy, I don't quite recall what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's probably for the best, you know? That way you don't have to deal with any regrets.
We wouldn't want that, would we?
I'm gonna pick up 2 beers from the bar and hand one of them to Joe Hoff. I really need to hear what happened.
Oh, we don't need to talk about that, do we? I mean, we came to talk to Joe Hoff about important business today.
I mean, sounds like you made quite the impression.
Well, I mean, it is worth saying that after we bought them rollerblades from those little midgets at that one bar, this man couldn't stand up on his own until he got sober and drunk. I've never seen anybody get better at that the more drunk they is. It was truly remarkable.
Practice makes perfect, Johoff, as I've told you.
So perhaps a cure for his tendency to overthink.
Yeah, that might be it. Well, whatever it was, he was a spectacle, that's for sure.
Well, I'm very sorry I missed it.
Yeah, how was your little party you went to?
It was pretty good. There were a lot of very important people in attendance. I can't say I spoke to many of them, but I definitely listened in on a number of conversations.
It sounds fucking riveting.
Well, you know, maybe not as riveting as roller skating around Mossstone.
Yeah, well, also, did you know, you get this guy drunk enough, he'll be willing to sing with you in front of that whole bar.
I don't believe you, Johoff.
Yeah, well, I'm surprised if stories wasn't floating around Mossstone by now from other places, so you'll probably hear about it once or twice.
Very impressive.
Started ad-libbing the lyrics he was. It was filthy. Never heard the likes of that shit come out of his mouth.
Well,
Practice makes perfect, Johoff. What did happen with those roller skates?
Oh, I got him back. You want to go for another run on him?
Maybe later tonight.
I think that tonight might not be the best night for it.
True, we wouldn't want to be injured the day before we depart.
Departing, eh?
Yes,
Oh,
it is part of the reason we've come to speak with you.
Yeah, well, spit it out then.
Well, it would be very difficult to go without you, if I'm being honest. And I know that you have very strong connections here, but I feel very strongly that the group needs you and benefits from you being there, so if you're interested, we are leaving Mossstone tomorrow.
That's a lot of real nice flattery bullshit there. Thank you for it. Yeah, I'm not sure I agrees. Where are we going?
To Luskin.
Oh yeah? I've read about that place. Pretty rough and tumble, I think.
Yes. Very dark and difficult and not a kind place.
Yeah, well, you just sold me. I'm coming.
I should have known that was a better strategy.
So there'll be many inns and taverns along the way, Johoff. I think that we'll desperately need you. Plus, I don't have enough room in my pack for the roller skates.
Deal. I think I can find a way to cram them in next to, my other clothes. Although, if we're going north, I might need to, borrow a coat or something such.
Yes, I would highly recommend that you bring a number of shirts, coats, and gloves and boots.
What the fuck is gloves?
You know, to keep your hands warm from the wind.
Well, I think that might, soften my bows a little bit.
Well, we'll see what we can find for you.
Yeah, well, look. Pardon, what was that?
Wouldn't want to damage your delicate knuckles, Mr. Johoff.
You watch it or begin telling everybody about what you sang the other night in the bar.
We'll tell everyone anyway at some point.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. Made the bouncers blush. He even fucking did.
Well.
Yeah. Well, look. Here's the fact of the matter. Fact is, with Big Pete going all legitimate and above board, respectable and whatnot, more fun than just, there isn't a base for Joe Hoff in this here town. So, it might be time to spread my wings a little bit and fly, see what all's out there.
The place for you with us.
Oh, well, that's very touching. I always appreciate that. It's been, a long time since I had, a group that I felt was worth leaving town over. So, this could be a good adventure.
I think so.
Need somebody to help get his ass up to bed after he's gotten himself so drunk, right?
True.
Yes.
I doubt that you'll even need to bring your fancy shirt where we're going.
Thank God, that thing is the worst. So, when are we going, and what do I need to do?
Well, we are leaving tomorrow from the guild, and we are traveling at first by some unusual means. We are taking a teleportation circle to Silvery Moon. So you'll just have to show up to the guild in the morning, and we'll sort it out from there.
Well, can't say I'm overjoyed at going through some magical portal, but we'll make do. Does I need to, bring any documentation or some sorts?
No documentation, no, but, gold and supplies, anything that you will need. We are, going to be very far afield, so anything that you think you will need for a number of months.
Well, look, this is a little embarrassing, and, don't tell anybody or nothing. Joe kind of leans in a little bit closer to you guys. I've, other than the, shipping expeditions which you was with me on, and in which all of that sort of thing was taken care of, I've actually, I've never left Mossdown, so I'm not really sure how to pack for this.
Oh. Well, I suppose bring some clothes, but when we get to Silvery Moon, we are going to stop at the market and get cold weather clothes. And I would say to bring weapons, but I think you are pretty well prepared all of the time, so I don't know, personal effects, things that you would miss, otherwise you are much prepared to go.
Right. How is we transporting the ale that's coming with us?
I'm afraid that we probably won't be traveling with ale.
What? What?
There's plenty of ale to be found in the north, Johoff.
Yes, better drinks in the north, I will have to say.
Drink
Do you remember the mead? Remember the mead from Gunderlin? It is everywhere up there.
Well, if you haven't already talked me into it with talk of how wonderful this Luskin place is, that would have done it right there. I'm on board.
Yes, I don't know why I started with flattery. I should have started with the mead.
I believe the only way to stay warm in the north is to be generally drunk most of the time, Johoff.
Well, I shouldn't even need extra clothes.
I think you'll be fine.
Look, not to be that guy and whatnot, but just one last thing that I feel like I should probably ask before we go. Why, though?
That is a good question.
It is a bit of a long story, but we are essentially going in order to find old artifacts. Things from when Damon was constructed that were lost.
Joaf begins to pretend to snore.
Yes,
Right, don't
and,
kill me
you
with
know.
this. It's whatever, I'm coming, that's fine. If you're just going for some kind of little expedition to find some old shit, I'll go with you, that's no big deal.
You know, that and the mead. There's many a reason. We will be close to my hometown, so we might go there.
Oh yeah, are we gonna miss the are we gonna meet the famous Mrs. and Mr. Isolda?
Perhaps. It is a long story, but I will fill you in on the way. Once we get to Silvery Moon, we have a long journey through woods and unpathed areas. So we'll have plenty of time around the fire to tell stories.
Alright, well I'll find it. Ale and that special mead we have before does wonders for helping you speak about the things that are long stories, so just bear that in mind.
I will.
Alright, well this is fucking exciting.
Upon hearing that
It
you
is.
guys are going out of town, Tommy's gonna look up and be like, You guys aren't going away for a while, are you? Is that Dragonborn going with you?"
I walk up to Tommy and I sit right in front of him and I say, Tommy, I have some very bad news. I'm sorry.
"Oh God, you can't do this to me."
I've been giving him the letters. He'll write you on the way while we're gone.
Get a hold of yourself, man. Have some goddamn self-respect.
He starts crying and then just like goes into the back room. He can't handle it.
Oh shit, I actually does feel a little bad about that.
It was quite the scene.
And at some point, like Cass comes out and it's like, "Oh God, he's crying again." All right, sorry. She just starts tending the bar.
Yeah, sorry, Cass. That one's on me. That was my fault. Sorry about that.
Would you just fucking leave?
Well, it sounds like that's actually on the docket.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. I was going to be a respectable traveler of the world, you know? Spread my wings. I always felt I was, Boston wasn't big enough for the likes of me anyhow.
Have you even ever been to Uptown?
What's up now?
Nice.
Where you went to a fine dinner party, I believe, a few weeks ago, Osner, with that fancy shirt.
Oh, fuck that place. Oh, wait, is the rest of the world gonna be like that fucking place?
No, where we're going is quite the opposite of that place.
Yes,
Oh,
very much
thank
the
God.
opposite.
Whew. Near gave me a fucking heart attack. I was gonna have to back out.
Well, when you collect enough money up there, you always know where to come back to for another tattoo.
True that. Nobody does them quite like you, Cass.
That's accurate. Is there anything else you guys want in the Leewin?
I think we've broken enough hearts today, and it's time to go.
Perfect.
Agreed.
I think Leif is
Obviously,
here.
I'll have some stuff to pack from my room, but other than that,
Sure.
I'm good.
Leif, are you here?
I am.
Wonderful. So skipping back a little bit, and this can actually just be concurrent. That makes sense. Damon wanted to meet with Marin in his study.
Master Marin. Do you need me to wait for a second?
No, you're good.
Master Marin, there is much I want to ask of you, though perhaps it will be too much. Tell me, do you still have Master Moltanus' spellbook?
Yes, I do. Would you like to see it?
No, I actually wonder if you have learned anything from it. Specifically, I wonder if you have learned anything about the magic that made my stasis possible, and what implications, if any, the mere possibility of this state may have for my existence with regard to classifying myself as alive.
Oh, it's a curious question. I'm not entirely sure how to answer it. Death in this world usually means moving on to another plane. Insofar as stasis is not that, I would have a hard time calling it death, though I could see why you might think of it that way. A dreamless sleep, perhaps, which humans as well as constructs are capable of. I know that put under the right spell or curse, a human being could find themselves in a similar type of stasis. Perhaps petrification is as close as we can think of.
That is interesting. You know, as I travel with Bear Squad, I rest with them, but I do not sleep with them. When they close their eyes and dream, I remain awake and aware of what goes on around me. Are you aware of this?
I have heard that constructs are designed without the need to sleep in the proper humanoid sense. But I am also aware that the form of rest you take while conscious is still a sort of recharging of sorts. Is that right?
It is. I use this opportunity to recharge my power sources so that I may operate at full capacity in the ensuing hours. You know also that after Moltanus sealed off the bottom floor and placed the orb in my chest, he placed me into a state of stasis which lasted for a very long time.
Yes, I am familiar with this.
I am finding myself troubled by the implications of such stasis. While I rest, as the rest of the party does, I remain aware. I create memories and can perceive what is happening around me. Yet, for the 1500 years of my stasis, I have no memory, no single perception that made it through to my mind. Generations were born, lived, and died. Empires rose and empires fell. The world changed shape, and I apprehended none of it. Until 30 years ago, when I returned to awareness, to find myself immured, trapped with no companion, save the desiccated remains of my former master. You are aware of this as well.
Yes, and I can see why it troubles you now. If you're asking why he did it, one could imagine being put in his position, being told to seal off something, and being told that one day someone would come for it, and that it must be the case that when that day comes, the person is of good heart. Well, you can see now why he chose you as part of his test.
You are perceptive and wise, Master Marin, to know this is what I was about to ask. I I believe you may be right, that perhaps it was necessary, and Moltanus did what he had to do. Yet I find myself having a difficult time. What am I for? Either Moltanus created me to bring these messages to you, to deactivate the sentries and access the lower levels of the guild, to fight with Bear Squad against the cult of Sirith and the abomination they would unleash on the world. Either this is what he intended for me, or it is not. Either way, I am finding myself aimless, purposeless, and I do not know what I should do next.
Have you ever asked yourself why he gave you a soul?
I had not for a very long time, and now I find myself unable to get away from that question, and equally incapable of answering it.
Strictly speaking, an automaton can carry out action without a soul. This is well known. And, although Mortimer is charming, this is the case with the creature that Missile has created. An automaton does not need a soul to carry out a mission.
No.
But a soul is needed if the automaton, or the creature yourself, is created with the intent of pursuing its own purposes. I believe Moltanus created you for one purpose, yes, but also for an alternative purpose. That is to find your own purpose.
I do not know how to respond to that. For all my existence, I have served, and that has been my purpose. It has been to serve Moltanus, and when Moltanus died, he instructed that I serve you, and you have instructed me to serve Bear Squad. I have done all this. Is it now to fall to me to determine who or even if I will serve?
I'm afraid, like the rest of us, it is the case that you must make that choice.
And this is the experience of all living things. Is that right?
Yes, unfortunately it is.
My new friends, all of Bear Squad, they face these questions daily.
Yes, more or less. Or drink until they forget about it.
Yes. That does seem to be a common choice. One that is, unfortunately, unavailable to me at present moment.
Yes, you are, I believe, immune to poison.
That is correct. It is beneficial in many ways, but just recently, I find myself perhaps brewing it a bit.
Well, maybe Missile can figure out a way to get you drunk. If anybody could, it would be him. But perhaps not avoiding the question is the better route.
I think you are most likely correct on that front. You have given me much to think about in this way, Master Marin. But I must ask one more thing.
Of course.
I have said during my stasis, I am without memory, or indeed without any kind of perception of my own mind for over 1500 years. In considering what this would be similar to, I find that the only comparison I can make is to a time before my existence, before Moltanus created and ensouled me. If stasis is a sort of parallel to non-existence. What is to become of me when I die? Will I be perpetually reactivated and reborn? Will I ever find the rest that other living things seem to be able to find?
I believe, and this is not an area that I am well versed in, so I could be wrong, but I believe that ensouled automatons have a place amongst the heavens. A plane called Mechanus comes to mind. Now, I can't speak to its existence, and I have never been there, but perhaps it is a place to look for, something to investigate on your own. I must add... Oh, sorry, go for it.
I believe I may do that.
As for your mission, if you decide to join Isolde and Bear Squad and go up north, I think now with the cult at bay and at least destroyed for now, we can finally stop hiding your figure. You are in no need of that cloak of disguise any longer. You are ready to go out into the world and, well, be yourself.
Of course, Master Marin. I find myself oddly comforted by that fact. And I'll, hand the cloak back over to you. Or to Marin.
Yeah. And, he grabs it, and you can see that he also has something in his hand. And he says, "Now, the cloak of displacement that was your master Multanus, or his property. I'm afraid it might be too risky to send it on you up so far north. It would draw the attention of many eyes, and perhaps win you more enemies than friends. But I do have a cloak for you that's a little more discreet, that I think will make up for the absence of your cloak of disguise." And so he hands you a cloak of +1 protection.
Right on.
So make sure we add that later, and we'll put it on the sheet.
Right on. You remain generous and supportive, as always, Master Marin.
Well, you did bring me the greatest spellbook I've ever read. A cloak worth tens of thousands of gold, and helped me unlock the secrets of one of the most ancient civilizations known to Toril. So, I think a cloak of protection is the least I can do.
It has been my pleasure to serve in this way, up to now.
Well, I hope you find pleasure in whatever way you decide to serve in the future.
Thank you, Master Marin. And then Damon would, turn to leave, and then pause and turn back and say, Master Marin, I must beg your indulgence one last time.
Of course.
You say there is a plane in which I may find rest, the way other living creatures do. Mechanus, you called it. Should I make it to Mechanus one day, will I meet the friends I have lost along the way? Or will they be confined to their own realms?
It is a very good question. One I'm not sure I'm fit to answer. Perhaps in your travels up north, you will meet someone wise enough to answer that question. Perhaps Tern, the High Wizard of Silvery Moon, knows. I couldn't tell you.
I understand. It is a complicated question. What is it like to die?
Indeed. And If I may, one question that we don't usually it's not a question that we ask lightly in casual company, so perhaps be careful whom you ask about death. You may upset people.
Of course. Thank you, Master Marin, as always, for your indulgence and your wisdom.
It will be sad to see you leave, but I am optimistic about your future.
Thank you. I must say, I am no less anxious, which is a strange sensation for me. But I find myself with a degree more hope than before.
I'm glad I could help.
And then Damon will just nod and turn to leave Master Man to whatever he's doing.
Very cool. So I think I've crossed off all my things. Oh shit, I just realized, Garrett, have you been talking and I haven't heard you? Because I muted you a while ago because you had background noises, and then I realized I did not unmute you. So if Garrett's been like, hey, I'd like to get a thing, and I'm just like talking over him.
No, can you hear me now?
I can hear you totally loud and clear.
Cool. No, I didn't have anything to add.
Okay. So what I would just say is that, how were Taryn and Vosner going to get back? Were they just going to take a boat back, or were they going to like travel? How are you going to do it? You going to turn into like a big whale or turtle, and Taryn could just ride on your back?
I was thinking of boat, but with that option, I'm going with Vosner turning into a
Yeah,
turtle.
until he runs out of wild shape time, and then you're like just stranded out in the middle of Fire Drake Bay.
Right, yeah. I can only do it for about 8 hours a day, so would that
Yeah,
get us good?
Probably not. So yeah, I'll just say you get a boat and get your way back, and it's not a problem. And so you show up in the Mossstone docks, and it's like the evening, and unless you guys have anything you want to do, maybe I'll just throw you all back to the barracks.
And you find a bunch of letters on your bed.
And lucky. Are they from your family, Taryn?
Sorry, you dropped for a second. What did you say?
Oh, I said Vosner asked Taryn if those letters were from his family.
I don't know what they are. I'll have to check them out.
There's just a heap of letters, and they're all like
Just way too many.
it's oscillating between like I just can't wait till you get back, and then also like why haven't you messaged me, like really angry, and then like I'm so sorry, I didn't mean that. You know how I get. It's some toxic volatile shit. That's what I'm saying.
Taryn reads a couple and then puts them down.
Marcus says, I think it's best that we get you out of your up north turn.
Yeah, I guess so. Oh, you guys noticed that, like, in Taryn's scales, there's bronze ones flecked in along with the green ones? So he looks a little bit different again.
How did it go?
I think it went well. Rusty was a good teacher.
DeMarcus is kind of like overlooking the like physical changes in you, and he says, "Is this normal? Like in the presence of any dragon, do you take on traits of that dragon? I'm sorry, I just don't know how dragonborns really work."
I've only met two, and I have. I don't know any more of my kind who have had this change in them, but I also don't know any of my kind who've spent time with dragons. So I don't know if it's what we do or if it's something in me.
Well, I'm glad it went well.
Thank you. How was your training?
Oh, fairly good. I've been basically just praying and working out a lot and trying not to get too drunk with Joe Hoff.
How's that going?
Well.
Yeah,
Something about roller.
Ah,
guess we'll hear the story soon enough.
Likely will. Luckily, Joe Hoff will be coming with us.
Oh, right. Yeah, we have to head back. Or to the north, right?
Yes. We are leaving tomorrow.
That soon. Paco pops out. He looks utterly exhausted.
Yes, I suppose for those of you who have been on a trip, it seems very soon, but being here and knowing that we were about to leave, it has felt like it took a long time.
I'll be ready.
Yes, I would recommend if anyone has guild coins that we should spend them, since we are not going to have another opportunity for a long time. And there's some things that I need to fill you all in about regarding our trip and who we will meet when we arrive.
Sounds good. About how many guild coins do we have? I can't remember. What was the last payout that we had, John? Do you have that?
Well, it depends. Let's see. Do we have it in your inventory? It looks like you've got it in Electrum. I think you have the 150.
Okay, yeah. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, I think 150 is the last payout.
Likewise.
Okay, cool.
I spent mine.
I'm not sure why Vosner has it marked at 1,000 platinum, because that's definitely not the case. But...
Yeah, just walking around with 1,000 platinum. That
You fucking robbed Rusty? Is that what happened?
Whoa.
I don't think so.
I forgot to tell you that when you guys went to those pirate islands that were vacant, and they were like, and you guys were investigating it, you found like their treasure that was left behind as well, and Rusty made you help him hoard all of it back to his lair. He didn't give you any of it.
that makes sense.
I mean, my character will be fine. He is, but fuck, man. Giant. I can transport it. Have us carry it.
Hey, I'm looking under the tabs, and the Bear Squad ledger seems to have reset. I was looking for... We should have like 7,000 something gold.
We have a loot stash.
Yeah, it's in the loot stash. I only see 800 gold in the loot stash, though.
That's under shop.
Oh, it was 800 gold each. That's what it is. You guys are at
Stash.
567, or 5677, because you guys bought a bunch of potions of superior healing and stuff.
Okay, yep, I finally found it. Yep.
So, for the sake of, expediting things, what we'll do is you guys can buy shit in... We'll basically just end the session probably in Silvery Moon, and we'll basically be like, you guys can go to the market there, and I'll basically allow you guys to spend all your gold and all your guild coins as you see fit. And that'll be kind of like your equipment for the journey. And we'll move from there.
Nice.
So you don't have to like figure it out right now.
Okay.
Cool.
But yeah, totaling up how much gold you guys have as a group and individually and all that stuff might be useful. near the end of the session when we kind of wrap up stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys find yourself back at the barracks. I'm imagining Johaf's not there. He's just gonna show up in the morning.
I suppose that's up to him. I told him to meet us there in the morning, but
Yeah.
That I will sleep for the last night in my own room.
Right. Play with his action figures and stuff.
They're collectibles, not action figures.
I think we just added something.
Joe, put your dog away.
I think we just added something to Johaf's canon that I'm really excited about.
Really abusive monk dad calling his toys dolls.
He's gonna find like a super rare collectible action figure in the snow when we're up in Icewind Dale. It's gonna be his loot. Okay, sorry.
I'm into it. I think we should go. We should pursue this.
Yeah, okay, good. I really want him to put on a show with all of his action figures that the group like stumbles in on. It's like that scene in Spaceballs. Okay. So yeah, I don't have anything planned for you guys here if you want to chat.
Cool.
yeah. Izzy would probably take this time to fill everyone in about the Wizards Alliance. And, you know, the Silvery Moon, Teleportation Circle, things that we're going to see. All of that.
I guess Vosner would mention the strange disappearances of all of the various groups of people on the different islands, and Gunderlin being in trouble, or maybe a potential target in the future.
It is very unsettling.
Yeah. Well, Rusty seemed to have a little bit more confidence in Gunderland than the other places, but we'll just have to keep our eyes open.
Well, I had already kind of made the decision not to travel by water, so I suppose we don't have to worry about running into them on the seas, but we should probably keep our ears out in Laskin, since it is also a port city, for stories of undead sailors.
Most definitely. So, we'll be heading back to your hometown, or near there. Will we meet any of your family while we're up there? Anyone? Isolde. Can no one hear anything from me?
I can hear you.
I can hear you. I can't hear as well.
Laurel. Okay.
Hello?
Hi,
Hey,
Laurel.
there you go.
Hi. We will be close, yes, to my hometown, and perhaps we will go and meet my family, but it is not our kind of primary goal. And there is a lot that I have to tell you before we get there. So, it is maybe not a priority right now to think about Icewind Dale. She looks very serious and contemplative.
Cool. Vosno nods, puts his hand on his shoulder, and he said, "Well, stories in due time. There for you to hear."
Yes, and I will say we will have plenty of time for that. I made the decision alongside Master Marin to have us go by teleportation circle to Silvery Moon, which is east of Luskin. We will have to go through some forested areas and some mountainous areas that are not commonly traveled, so it won't be an easy journey, but like I said, we won't be on the sea and we won't be on the tradeway, so I think it will be better overall. And I've spoken to Master Merin about our goals and purposes here, and he has told me that we are essentially working not only for the guild, but also for a group called the Wizards Alliance. That is it is not common knowledge that they exist, so it's sort of like the basement levels, not something that we should speak about in company. But being in Silvery Moon will give us the opportunity to meet the High Wizard, Aaron. So.
Is the Wizards Alliance anything that DeMarcus would have heard about at any point or not?
No, this is even above DeMarcus's pay grade.
Okay.
Aaron has also told me that it is to our benefit that we sort of keep our heads down up north. No one up there knows or should know why we are there, so we should keep things sort of under wraps. We will assume the identities of adventurers out looking for, the next great thrill and gold. But anything about our purposes as far as the relics or the guild or the cult of Sirik or sort of anything that we have done so far is not something that we should go around talking about.
It's understood.
Yes.
Do we have an idea of where this relic is?
The Alliance has a few people doing research on it, but Marin told me actually that Master Missile that you found some information.
At that, Missile's head pops up. Before that, Mortimer had been going back and forth between this stack of books and sheets of paper and putting little, dots and slashes on the pieces of paper as though transcribing the books into this short staccato language, and giving these to Missile that he's rapidly reading at a very quick pace in one hand, with one hand, and then in the other hand he's scribbling notes. And his head pops up, and he says, "Oh yes, the staff, the artifact. Alora's evocation staff of ice and snow. Yes, I had discovered that some time ago a dragon descended upon Luskin, and as dragons are wont to do, collected the variety of magic items that it could before disappearing. And so I believe we should be looking for this dragon. I'm trying to discover its name and any information about its whereabouts, but I've not had any luck yet. Hopefully in due time we can figure it out, but I do believe we'll have to find this dragon if we hope to find the staff.
Dylan, make me a history check.
Oh, you better believe it. Okay. Let me do some things, because nothing is prepared.
Oh yeah, we're rolling dice.
That's right.
Alright, so... Is this related to magic items, alchemical
Yes.
objects, or tech? It is? Okay. So let's add 3 to it. Where are you? There you are. 18.
Okay, yeah. You discover the dragon who supposedly took it is a white dragon named Orothator.
Oh my, can you spell that?
I put it in the chat.
Ah, nice. So Missile squeaks eagerly during the conversation and hands me up a piece of paper, and I say, "Oh, Missile's discovered. The dragon's name is Orothator."
That is,
Isolde, make a history check for me.
oh gosh.
Yeah. So you would know that Orothator is the name of the dragon that is also known as the Old White Death, and that he has a lair somewhere in the Sea of Moving Ice. It's a baller history check.
Say Old White Death?
Yes.
Gnarly.
And that he's known as being like kind of one of these, like, it's kind of like folktale, like, but you probably know of, like, you know, a cousin who got eaten by him. Like, it's not so crazy far away that like you've never seen him, but you know that he's like a force out in the Icewind Dale that the people speak about. And it's like almost
Like,
to the point where it's like, you better come in before it gets dark, otherwise a Rothador will get you. Like,
yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, don't walk out when it's like whiteout conditions, because people get snatched.
that's when the Old White Death comes for you.
That's right. So, yeah, when you say that name, Izzy grows a bit pale and says, I have heard of that dragon. There is, another name for him in my town. He is known as the Old White Death, and it is rumored that, you know, if you can't see where you are going and the snow takes you, that he will come and take you.
Missile kind of grins and says, "Ooh, this should be quite exciting then." And a plume of smoke flows from his armor.
Exciting is not the word that I would use. But yes, his lair is up in the Sea of Moving Ice, which is just to the north of my hometown. Or at least that is what the rumor is that is where he takes people, so. I have never seen him myself.
Well, perhaps the chance will come.
Perhaps. She like kind of bites her lip and looks worried for a while.
Is there any more stuff you guys want to talk about before going to bed?
Hmm.
I have nothing.
I'm good.
Okay, so you guys go to bed in your little cots in the guild for the last time for probably a very long time. And you wake up in the morning and the servant folk who kind of bring your food or who serve food in the cafeteria have kind of brought you some food, some of it kind of packed to go, kind of like quietly nodding, and it's a little bit of like a farewell package from these nondescript NPCs, of which none of them have a personality because I'm a terrible human being and all those reasons. Hand waving people into existence and out of existence, as a god does. Anyways, and then you guys head upstairs, unless you guys want to chit chat before that. Oh, do we want to just do a break? Because it is 3. Do you guys want a 5-minute break? Laurel just said she has to go for a second.
Break.
Yeah,
Break.
let's do a 5-minute break.
Ooh. Our things. That's how our things. Yeah. Yep. Probably for another 3 minutes or so. What are you doing, Mr. Godman? In the middle of the day. Yes. What a lush. What a lush. This dog. Here's some like Stella Artois. Ace, what do you think? Do you like Stella Artois? Do you like letters?
Here, did you not have your microphone muted this whole time?
Guess not. It's muted now.
Yep. Where is everybody?
I'm here.
Are we back?
I've also got like 10 more minutes I can stay.
Uh-oh. Hopefully John gets back on soon.
It feels like God hasn't spoken to us for an eternity. Where is he?
Is God dead?
I hope not.
These fucking sinners' fault, man.
Probably.
Maybe it's like a deist thing where he set the game in motion and now it's just up to us.
Yeah, he's just having a smoke.
All he left us was this static image and, 7 people that we can't move or interact with.
What does it mean?
Who are you, Marin? Why won't you talk to me?
Sometimes God speaks the most in the silences.
Oh.
Nah, man. I'm about it. The most religious moments of my life involved absolutely nothing happening in a moment of solitude and quiet.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, man.
I will say I've also had the mountaintop experiences.
Sometimes they hit you where you'd least expect it, like one time in the office or like
Really?
on my back porch.
That's cool.
I did a bunch of acid once and thought I saw God.
There you go.
Makes a
But-
lot of sense to me. The fact that
But then it
Dylan
was this cloud.
the fact that Dylan can have something even halfway close to a sublime experience in FAO is just mind-melting.
Yeah. It's a deficiency in the way my brain's wired. So.
That's got to be a you thing, man, because that's too much.
I don't know. Sometimes despair can get you to the point of the sublime. So
That's true.
That is
And I
fair.
guess that is a proper miracle, though, I guess. Is it? Like,
Alright, I'm back.
Hey.
The end, the ennui. Oh, we have meaning and purpose again, John.
Oh, good. I'm glad you
Where are we
feel real. So I preloaded this, or I guess I already loaded this scene for you. Yeah, this is what you guys find when you come up the stairs. Johoff got there early, and he's got like, what's Johoff carrying? Like, what kind of bags does he bring on this trip?
It's just like a dirty backpack.
Did he bring a shirt?
Yeah, he's got like a loose fitting, like, one of those ones that's like got a couple buttons up at the top for the neck, and that's about it.
And then Marin says, Johoff, that's a very nice shirt you have.
Yeah, that's gonna embarrass him bad.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. Um, so that's what happens when you like first show up, and then he just says like, you can wait over there until Bearsod awakes, and then
Yeah, is the guild supplying breakfast before we head out?
I will have the servants bring you something to eat. Do you have a request?
Oh, you want a sausage and ale, maybe?
And he like waves his hand, and then like the servant brings you exactly that. So you've got like a little plate with sausage and then like an ale, but you don't really have a way to hold both of them, and you're in a giant like marble room like with marble floors, and there's no seating or like any place to put a drink.
Yeah, I've got a 20 in dexterity. I'll figure it out.
Yeah. All right. You're like balancing your ale on your like elbow while you're eating. Okay. So while you're doing that, actually roll acrobatics for me, or would it be sleight of hand? Whatever one you want to do.
All right, let me see if I can remember how to do that kind of stuff in this.
Don't let me down.
Oh, all right. I'm gonna save that one for a little bit. So, Lyra and Marin are in the process of drawing a circle on the floor, and for those of you who you guys aren't really here yet, but for you guys to remember the circle that was drawn when you guys teleported to the abyss. This is kind of a similar looking thing, obviously with different symbols heading to a different location, and they draw it out on the floor, and Lyra sends a message through sending, and all of a sudden 3 figures come through the teleportation portal, and at the center of them is this tall, dark-skinned man with a short haircut, his name is Joris, Azure Mantle, and he's wearing like plate armor that's like at the top, but then it kind of like flows down into a robe, and it's kind of hard to tell where the plate ends and the robe begins. And it is not Chadwick Boseman. There are a ton of fantasy depictions of him though, and I was like tempted, and I was like, no, that would be a little too on the nose. Everybody's sad every time they see him. Anyways, so Joris comes through, and on his right is a like a knight wearing like pure silver mithril armor,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
on his left is a figure in blue robes with the cowl kind of up over the head, and he comes through, and Marin and Lyra both kind of like do a little bit of a bow to him, and he says, Marin, it's good to be here. And then he kind of like stops and looks up at the giant ball of light to his left, and he says, holy shit, they said you did it, but I didn't know you actually did it, and out in the open like this. Incredible. And Marin kind of smiles sheepishly and says, yes, it seemed like the proper place to put such a thing. It's deserving of, observance. And Joris kind of chuckles and, I guess, but I don't know. It's a wild place to put such a powerful artifact. And then he turns to Lyra and says, Lyra, you're looking good. You've been keeping yourself well employed down in Tethier? And she kind of just nods at him. And that's when Bear Squad comes up. And as soon as Johoff sees Bear Squad kind of coming up the steps, he goes to wave, and he drops his plate with the sausage on it, and it hits the ground and shatters, and there's this loud echo, and Joris, Marin, Chandri, and Lyra all turn to Johoff, who's standing there with a beer in his hands.
Yeah, can I like just use my foot to kick the ground sausages kind of off to the side?
Yeah, absolutely. So you just kick the sausage kind of out of the frame so that they can't see it. And yeah, Bear Squad, you are here. Yeah, don't all speak at once.
Yeah, so I guess I'll kind of walk up over to Johoff and just say, "Good morning."
Yep, morning.
And then kind of lower my voice and be like, "Are you ready for all of this?"
Well, I'm a few sausages behind what I thought I'd be right now, but, all things considered, I think I'm pretty good.
Is when we make it to the markets on the other side.
Yeah, it sounds good with me. Does, does it do anything funny to you when you go through one of these? Well, I don't
No,
want my head
no.
like... I don't want my head growing out my ass or some such,
Oh, nothing like that. No, you'll be fine.
Marin calls Vosner over to him. Says, Vosner, I have something for you.
Okay. Comes over. Goes, yes, master. Oh, wait. No! Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, cool.
And he says, yes, Tetherman was sad that he couldn't be here for this. He's got business elsewhere, but he instructed me to give this to you. And he hands you, it's like a very kind of thick string, and on the end of it is a pendant of a crescent moon. And so it's a necklace, and he says, he told me that this would help you on your journey. I am told it has powerful magic that will suit your abilities.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll give you the stats on that another time, but it's basically a pendant that gives you an extra wild shape per day, and then also makes your wild shape forms +1, basically. So +1 on attacks and stuff. And then, by the way, that book that DeMarcus was given by Dorn was a book that gives you +2 on religion checks.
Sweet.
Yeah, so I forgot to tell you that, and we'll get all that shit sorted out. So remind me next week if I don't have that already in your inventory. And then he would, let's see, he's already got the, he wants the ring from DeMarcus. Yeah, he would say, DeMarcus, I believe you have something for me.
Yes. He walks up to Mirren, and he kind of like looks at Mirren, and he kind of looks uneasily at the strangers. Sort of like, are you sure you want me to give this to you right now? Like in their presence, like, because he would expose himself to the new people.
Yeah, and Joris sees this exchange and goes, I know who you are, DeMarcus Sunspire. You can take off the disguise.
Yeah, so he kind of looks like just I don't recognize him, do I?
Absolutely not.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I kind of like look uncomfortable, but sort of shake it off, and I give it to Marin, and I say, "Thank you, Master Marin, again for helping me here and taking all the risk of shielding me. I appreciate it, but I don't know how things will end in Heather and what'll happen with me, but I hope that my being here doesn't put you in any more risk, and that if it comes to it, you feel comfortable cutting me loose if you have to."
There will be no need. Your crimes are Minimal. And he takes the ring from you and says, be sure to follow the guidance of your friends here. They will keep you safe.
Thank you. I will. And I bow and I move back to the group.
Let's see if I had anything else that I needed to give people. Who wants some shit? No, I'm just kidding.
I want more shit. No. It's a pretty
You got
dope
the
thing.
best shit. Yeah, so Chandri would come up to Isolde and say, you've come a long way since you first got here. I hope this training is enough to help you face what you left behind.
I hope so as well. I can't imagine ever receiving a better training, so I am as prepared as I possibly could be.
You are very kind. I wish you well.
And to you, and good luck with the new students. I hope you have a good group of clerics.
Ah, yes, me too. And she kind of steps aside. Joris turns to the rest of you and says, very well, are we ready to go? And then he sees Missile in the back. He goes, Missile Ludovic, it's been a long time.
Missile looks at him, but not with a look of familiarity.
Yeah, you probably don't remember me. I sat in on a few of the seminars you gave. It's, well, anyways, I'm a big fan. I've heard a lot of things.
He looks at you a little closer and goes, "Oh, Joris, yes, I remember. You had the most wonderfully astute questions. Tell me, have you made any progress on your understanding of the chewing mechanism of ancient Netherese chewing automatons?"
Sadly, no. I kind of, once I finished that paper and turned it in, I stopped thinking about it. It's, well, we don't have a lot of time for research in the Spellguard, you know.
What a shame, what a shame. Well, good to see you again.
Yes, good to see you as well. Are all of you ready? This is, well, this is going to be quite painful. And he looks over at Johoff to read his face.
Yeah, definitely paled a little bit at that.
He goes, I'm just kidding, it'll be fine. Let's roll. And he kind of invites you over to the circle.
Yep, I'll help make sure everyone's in position.
Okay. And you guys gather around, kind of breathing in this moss stone warm tropical air and looking at this giant ball of light floating in the middle of the guild. And you can't help but remember when you first got here and fought with those other squads in order to earn your place here, and spent your first night down in the lower level of the guild and went on your first quest to save the farm people from direwolves. And then in a blink, you guys are teleported to the outside of the city of Silvery Moon.
Whoa, that's gorgeous.
Dang.
And as you kind of arrive, Joris says, sorry to teleport you outside of the city limits. It's kind of a rule we have here. Anyways, through this gate here, and we'll get you to the castle district. I understand you guys want to leave soon, but Taryn has suggested that you meet with him, and he has arranged for you to have a place to stay for the evening. But if you opt to leave early, he understands as well.
That is a generous invitation.
Yes.
I'm sure we can spend the night, and there's some supplies that we need to procure, so it probably won't be the proper time to start a journey by the time we're done with all of that.
Of course. Very well. Then come with me. I will guide you through the city. And he kind of gives you an impromptu tour. As he walks up to the gates, you see these knights in silver armor, much like you saw the knight who was on his shoulder, or to his shoulder when he first came through the portal, kind of nod at him knowingly. And atop these great spires, you see figures in blue robes, sort of mages who are, as he kind of explains, members of the Spell Guard, which is the organization of wizards who protect Silvery Moon from invaders. They're a very potent magical force. It's basically like city guard on steroids. They can teleport around. The city itself, as like maybe Damon would notice, or other maybe even Taryn would notice, has a sort of magical enchantment to it, much like the lower levels of the guild, where certain forms of magic are just completely nullified, especially teleportation magic and fire magic. So that, nobody can come in and start a fire and destroy the city, or teleport into dangerous or places that aren't supposed to be teleported into. And as you guys go through, you find yourself like walking down these kind of beautiful cobblestone streets, lots of checkpoints, with guards who constantly open the door for Joris, seemingly recognizing him. Everybody seems to recognize him. He turns to you and says, there's been a large influx of refugees lately. It's a product of unrest in the north. So if you see a lot of people, that is why. We can support them in this city. It is no problem. We have the magical ability and the resources to do so, but it is having an effect on the local economy. There's a great demand of food and other supplies, so be on the watch. Not all of these people are natives of Silvery Moon, and the vetting process is difficult and long.
What sort of problems have you experienced, if any?
Oh, well, up here there tends to be only one problem. That is some sort of force of invading folk coming in and ripping up all the settlements, sending people running for the only town with walls, which is us. Currently the problem is orcs. It's either orcs or giants or barbarians. It tends to depend on the season almost. And he looks kind of to his Isolde like, you know what I'm talking about. And he leads you through another set of doors. And as he does, you guys come to this river. Oh shit, I gotta make it so you can see. Anyways, you come to this river, and at each side of the town is divided by this river, and spanning the divide is this great bridge of light. And he turns to you guys and says, "This is the Moon Bridge. It is perhaps the most famous part of our city. It is made of, well, a similar material that made up that sun that Marin so impressively constructed all by himself. Actually, nobody knows how this one was built, but it remains here for centuries, and I guess it draws a lot of travelers." And he starts to walk up it, and as he does, you just see him kind of walk on this translucent floor, and kind of like as it arcs over the water, and kind of turns to you guys to see if you're coming.
Vosner will follow.
Missile will begin scribbling furious notes and gets distracted with like a minute portion of the bridge for several minutes, just staring at it and taking notes before he continues walking.
Yeah.
He almost seems cautious to walk on it.
Missile has been here before.
Nonetheless.
Yeah, but nonetheless, yeah, he could still become fascinated with it again. He leads you across and he says, well, on the other side of this bridge, you'll see the marketplace. And once we get to the other side of the marketplace, that'll take us to the castle district. Do you guys have any questions so far about Silvery Moon? Very well. I will let you know that this city has a very low tolerance for violence, and an even lower tolerance for ill use of magic. Everyone, well, not everyone, but many of the citizens of this city are equipped with powerful magic. It is something we pride ourselves in here. It is one of the most magical cities in all of Faerun, but at the same time, discretion and, well, I don't know, keeping things in check, I suppose, is what we're known for as well. There's a time and place for magic, and we use it here to improve lives, not to destroy them. And then he kind of exits the other side of the bridge.
Oh.
You guys are like the least active tour guide, or like tour group ever. And he,
I'm just taking pictures and going, wow.
Yeah, you guys are looking like tourists.
Yeah.
Like looking at
Karen
everybody's
is
hats.
actively gawking at
Yeah.
everything.
So you guys walk into the market area where you see a number of robed figures with wizard hats, all of these shops, and you see like all these signs with prices of things. So let me give you guys all observer access of all the Silvery Moon market prices.
Nice.
So I added that in your, I don't know if you guys can see it, but there. I clicked show players.
Nice.
So you guys can peruse that at your will and find things that you want. And he points to an inn kind of on the north side of the market. He says, "That is where you'll be staying. It's known as the Brandished Blade, but the name is meaningless, as are most inn names. It's just the nicest inn in town, and I guess Terran wanted to make a good impression on you southern adventurers."
And where might one find, the skeeziest inn in town, if one was looking?
Oh. One for singles only, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, one for people who aren't as, aren't as keen on this uppity stuff.
Oh, you mean just like a place that's not so posh. Well, the Brandished Blade is, I mean, I say it's the nicest, but it's not, off limits. It's not full of nobles. It's, to be honest, it's kind of where all the adventurers hang out. It's got, you know, a mercenary for, basically anything you could ever ask for living there. Of course, all for good. Presumably, I wouldn't presume Silvery Moon to be full of cutthroats or anything.
Yeah, definitely not that.
DeMarcus asks, at some point along this, doesn't have to be now, but he asks, you know, if it's clear that this guy's kind of like taking questions and things like that. DeMarcus would ask, what kind of temples are prominent in this city? What is the faith here like? Who do people worship?
Well, people worship as they please. Of course, there's a large contingent who worship Mystra, the goddess of magic, as you might understand, or you might presume. But the Triad is very popular here as well, and as are a number of lesser but benevolent and good gods. The worship of Cyric has been banned for all time, so there are, of course, faiths that are not allowed here, but any god that's at least neutral in alignment can find a temple here.
And Marcus would ask, I don't suppose you'd tell me how it is that you knew who I am, would you?
I am in charge of keeping Silvery Moon safe, and I wouldn't let anybody walk into these gates without knowing their true identity. And so I asked Marin to give me a, well, deep character history on each of you.
Well, if Marin trusts you, then so do I. I can definitely understand your job here in keeping everyone safe.
Yes, I suppose you would understand.
That's all I had. I'm just walking along
Sure.
with him, basically.
No, absolutely. That's good stuff. Anybody else want to chit-chat with him, or you want me to move on to...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Missile pipes up and says, "Joris, my good boy, if you could, refresh my memory as to the Academy of Silvery Moon, and how I could get there quickest from where it is we'll be staying."
Are you intending on checking out a bunch of books at the library again?
Missile blushes and kind of like rubs his forefoot in the ground, back and forth.
You know you still hold the record for most books checked out concurrently.
I do. Remind them if you see them that I do intend to return them someday.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the late fees would bankrupt a small country.
Speechless. Nothing to say to that.
Very well. Yes, if you want to go visit the library, I'm sure that can be arranged. Does anybody else have something they'd like to do in Silvery Moon?
I ask if there are any druids in the area, so I can get a better lay of the land, if it were.
Sorry to say that druids are, well, they're kind of in short supply here. This is kind of a wizard's town, if you will. That's not to say that there aren't druids. I'm sure you'll find an apothecary here and there that's run by druids, but no, I can't think of... there's no archdruid, so to speak, of Silvery Moon.
Okay. I'm sure I'll run into some. Thank you.
Of course. And then as you guys are walking and talking, you guys arrive at the Silvery Moon Castle District. And upon getting kind of within range of it, Joris turns to you and says, "Taryn would like to speak with you in private. I suggest you listen to everything he has to say, and be careful with who you disclose this information to. He is a very discreet man. And you guys find yourselves at the steps of this very ornate, well-constructed, ancient elvish building that kind of feels like a forest planted right in the heart of the town, where it's like all of a sudden the mood changes. There are birds, there's a slight breeze, the noise of the city is completely gone, and kind of in front of you, in kind of like a blink of an eye, a wizard appears, and he says, "Hello, I am High Mage Turn Hornblade. Welcome to Silvery Moon."
Thank you. Yeah, I bow.
No need to bow, but I appreciate the sentiment. I understand that you work with Marin Celendia.
Yes, we have all been students of the guild now for a while.
Very good. Well, Marin is a, well, he's an up-and-comer, that's for sure. Perhaps one day he will run this place, when I am much older, and he's grown up a little. And he kind of winks.
I will.
Oh, sorry, you got anything?
No, go ahead.
I have invited you here to speak with you about the nature of your mission. I have 2 wizards already working and researching in Luskan who I would like you to rendezvous with. You will find them at the Frozen Rudder. It is a inn in the heart of town that is, well, I wouldn't say respectable, but there is no inn in Luskan that is respectable. It is relatively safe for enough coin, and, well, I'm keeping them well funded. Upon meeting them, they should be able to instruct you about what they know in Luskan. But that is information for another time. The true issue is getting to Luskan. You have a long road in front of you. Have you thought about the way in which you are going to take?
Vosner looks over to Isolde.
Oh, can you not hear me?
I didn't
Nope.
hear you just then.
Oh. Master Marin told me that you would have thoughts on the matter, so I'll admit that I did not make a plan for us. I figured I would wait to hear your expertise.
Of course. And he pulls out a map. Can you guys all see that? Oh, it's all loading.
It's loading.
Ooh, pretty.
So pretty.
Love
And-
it.
And he is kind of drawing on the map. He says, Silvery Moon has a number of water vessels that are enchanted and can take you down the river towards Rivermoot. And he starts drawing on the map. Of course, once you reach Rivermoot, you will have to send the ships back and proceed by foot. I would, in previous times, recommend heading to Nesme, but given the current political situation, I would suggest avoiding it entirely. It appears that the town has been completely overrun by orcs and giants, and frankly, it would be more work to go there than to just plain avoid it. He says, instead, I recommend that you head north through the Lurkwood and make your way to the valley of Ked Run. There you will be able to follow the river down to Mirabar, where a man who is an acquaintance of mine should be able to help you get the rest of the way. Do you have any questions?
So we are traveling through the Lurkwood on foot then. Is there dangers that we should be looking out for?
Well, I would be lying if I said there weren't dangers, but there are dangers everywhere up here in the north. The main roads are perhaps even more dangerous than the off-roads at this point, which is why I'm advising you to go through the woods. Now, there are a number of natives, various orcs, hill giants, barbarian tribes who live in the Lurkwood, so you will have to do your best to avoid them and to not stir up trouble. But if you move quickly, carefully, and stealthily, I'm sure you'll be able to make your way through without much trouble.
And we're avoiding the main roads because they're overrun by orcs and giants at this point?
Yeah, at least in this area that he's kind of referencing. Griffin's Nest, Xantharl's Keep, Mornbrand Shield, Nesme, all of these places are kind of under attack at the moment, so you guys are kind of skirting north of that.
Yes. Go ahead, Terrence. Right.
Okay, yeah, Taryn asks if there's anything that's been stirring up these orcs and giants, or is it just a thing that happens?
Well, it is a normal occurrence, but it usually is caused by some other force, so perhaps this is an investigation that you could look into when you're out and about.
Yeah, go ahead. That's pretty much what DeMarcus wanted to ask you.
Taryn follows up with a question of, is there any dragon activity in the area?
Of course. There have been reports of dragon sightings in the area. White dragons and otherwise. There's of course a very famous red dragon that lives in the Clouthen Vale to the north. But he's more mischievous than he is deadly, though a violent encounter with him would probably result in the death of your entire party. Any questions about the trip between Silvery Moon and Mirabar?
Do you have a rough idea how long we should expect to have to go to this trip?
Are you guys ready to have your minds blown?
Yeah.
If you use the measuring tool, you can measure how many miles it is.
What?
Wow. And how many miles can we move a day? Like
20?
20?
So, if you guys went straight to Luskin, it'd be about 470 miles. So, you do the math. Like 20 days? Like a month?
It's gonna take us 2 weeks just to go across the Lurkwood.
Good
At
scale.
least.
Good scale.
Thanks.
Very cool.
So we're gonna have at least 3 days on the river?
The river will go quickly because you are on basically self-steering and rowing boats.
Yeah.
That
Like
operate
Jurassic Park.
using commands, basically. But yeah, after that it'll be on foot, which will take a long time.
Wow. Yeah, Larkwood's gonna take 2 weeks.
The good news is you
At
guys
least.
have a ranger who can make sure you don't get lost. I feel like we'll appreciate Leoward more, in this moment, and I think that's also what I'm aiming for. Retroactively appreciating our characters more.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. You guys could always try to go like resurrect him using like high level magic. You never know. Anyways, so yes, the first bit of this trip to Rivermoot is all on the Rauven River, and then you guys are trekking up north through the Lurkwood into the Valley of Kedrun down to Mirabar, and then he instructs you. I have a friend in Mirabar, a dwarf, who is part of the trade between Mirabar and Luskin. See, Luskin has high demand for precious ores, and Mirabar is full of them. The mines are constantly producing. So there's a barge that heads down the Mirar River weekly, and if you get there at the right time, you should be able to book yourself passage on that barge for a limited or a very small fee, and make your way down to Luskin, and then you will be where you need to be.
What was the name of your friend?
Oh shit, did I write it down? Hold on. Do. Not there. Somewhere. This is what happens when you write too much shit.
Name him Dwarfy.
Daniel Craig.
No. That's not it.
Don't worry about it.
Um
You can send it later.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have it off the top of my head. It's I had a cool name. Fuck. Oh, you can't do a Control F on your own document in this. That's sad.
Yeah, you say.
Yes! His name is Darendon Ironblood.
Darrington Ironblood. Noted.
So he says, yes, you will... The Bear Squad token has spoken. You will... He pulls out a package that's roughly the size of like a bag of flour or something, like a 5-pound. Like it's got a little heft to it, but it's opaque. You can't really see what's in it, and it's just like a little gray satchel. And he hands it to you, and he says, "This is for Darendon. He will know what it is, and it should win you enough favor with him to grant you passage. I only ask that you do not open it."
Of course.
And he, I guess, what else did we want to know?
Um.
Yeah, you guys have any questions about the journey?
That's what I'm trying to think about.
Are we just going to be using the same travel system?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit refined since the last time you used it, but it's pretty similar. That's actually what this like lower key part of the map is going to be. We're just going to use this map as our sort of map where we do all of our travel from, so you guys can see that. And I'm gonna put little text there so you can see what role you fill on the chart. And then
that's clever.
Yeah, I thought that'd be kind of fun. That way you guys get a feel for everything.
So cool.
Missa would ask Master Taryn if there are any settlements or trustworthy places of interest that we could stop at, most specifically through the Lurkwood or anywhere else that isn't a major city.
It's actually fitting that you ask that. There is something I need. Well, I don't necessarily need it from you, but I would like to ask it of you. Zymorvin Hall. It is only about a day's ride on the ship on your way down the Rauven River. I would ask that you go there and check in on an old friend of mine, a wizard named Zymorvin. He named the hall after himself. Normally, he and I correspond on the regular, and I have not heard from him in some time. So I would ask that you check it out, and one of your more capable squad mates send me a message if you have the ability.
We certainly will, Master Taryn, but if that's all there is, do you mean to suggest that at no point through the Lurkwood will we ever have a place of respite or safety?
I cannot vouch for any safe place in the Lurkwood, no. It will be a long journey, but it is a bountiful land, even in this time of the year. And it's like November, by the way, or the equivalent. Like, it's getting cold up here.
I'll ask if there's any sort of conditions that I could help prepare for, against like cold or poison or things like that, or who to ask about the lay of the land. If there's a ranger or a regular adventurer.
There might be adventurers in the tavern who know more about the Lurkwood, but he doesn't have any specifics about like what you could do to prepare for it, other than standard environmental stuff like make sure you have food and protection from the elements and shelter planned.
Okay.
Though he does say, you could hire a guide, I suppose, in Silvery Moon if you thought you were in need of it.
Okay. Thank you, that's helpful.
Of course. Though anybody who would be willing to take you all the way to Mirabar would probably charge a very hefty sum.
I think we should probably manage all right, but we will consider it.
Okay. I guess he would turn to Isolde and say, I understand that most of you know how important this mission is. I cannot stress enough how crucial it is to avoid mentioning your affiliation in public. The Northerners are a superstitious bunch, and they do not care much for wizards or magic practitioners. I would keep your abilities concealed in most public spaces, unless you want to draw attention to yourself.
I am aware, and Marin gave us a similar warning, so I think we will try to keep our heads down.
That is wise. Is there anything else you guys want to ask him about your trip or anything like that? I mean, you guys have the market for provisioning yourselves, and this is kind of like, if you think about it, the end of the, like we're getting into like you guys are now ready to go on your adventure. You're leaving Rivendell is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, shit.
Don't worry, it all gets better after Rivendell.
Yeah, especially in Redwood,
I don't think I have particular questions for him.
Okay.
But I do think that we should ask around, like, adventurers at the inn and stuff about the Lurkwood.
Sure.
Here.
Okay, so he basically just like says farewell, wishes you luck, and is very kind, and then basically tells you that you all have like a very nice, it's like a nice suite available for you at the Brandish Blade Inn, which is this nice establishment near the trade district or the market, so that you guys can get in there and buy shit and then go back to your room if you want.
Cool.
Yeah, so let me throw you on the tavern splash screen. And this
we're
is...
finally out in the wide world.
You really are. And you walk into like a room full of like a very diverse crew. Wizards with, pointy hats, and rangers with bows, people in full plate with swords, various bards playing instruments, and people kind of drinking around a table celebrating a recent adventuring victory. And there's just kind of a myriad of people. You guys can go up and talk to whoever you want. I'm just, for like narrative reasons, gonna say that I don't have any like characters planned, like go talk to that guy because he's gonna have the secret to Lurkwood. I don't have any of that planned, but if you guys are looking for particular information, we can do some social rolls for it and see what you guys can discern.
Yeah. I would probably spend time asking about, any recent trips into the Lurkwood and kind of what monsters are there. And then, I don't know if you want me to roll investigation or something like that.
Yeah, roll investigation for me. Yeah.
Well, wait. Missile is going to Flash of Genius that and recommend that Isolde finds an old ranger, so a ranger who's been around for a while, and that she specifically asked such a gentleman as that what his secret is.
I'm gonna just let Missile have roll on his own at finding an old ranger.
Okay.
So you can roll your own investigation check, and instead Isolde goes up and asks somebody. And has like a really long spiel where she's like very kind and like setting up why that person should help her, and then it like after 4 minutes of her talking, she realizes that person is asleep.
Aww, that's
Oh,
adorable.
right.
And Missile finds this grizzled, old-looking archer ranger who's just like still kind of caked with mud, like perpetually dirty, and he's like lost an eye and has an eye patch, and like, but he has this like beautiful ornate bow, and he's like, "Yeah, I can tell you about the Lurkwood, but it'll cost you."
Cost me what exactly?
Gold, friend. We trade information here.
How much gold are you looking for?
I don't know. That staff looks pretty shiny. You want to hand that over?
Oh, not a chance, but I'll tell you what. As it is only a piece of wood, and those cost, I don't know, 5 gold?
You're so oblivious to gold costs. That's like 5 copper. That's like 10,000% overpay. But yeah, our world is pretty inflated, so like everything bare minimum costs 1 gold because I don't want to deal with copper.
And my wisdom is 8, so, like,
Sure.
the knack of haggling would be utterly lost
I'm
on
pretty
this one.
sure intelligence would get you that, but yeah, fair enough.
What's the difference between wisdom and intelligence anyways? All right.
Wisdom is basically, in this game, it's really like intuition. It's like perception. It's not like the amount of things you know. That's kind of, it's a poorly named stat, really. It's like your gut feeling.
Got it.
What could a banana cost? $10? Yes, exactly. So, anyways, it costs you like 10 gold, but he tells you that there are, some barbarians that are borderline feral, just super brutal people, that are the kind of special kind of barbarian that's mostly confined to the Lurkwood, but that fighting them is not too much of a trouble for seasoned adventurers. Just don't get snuck up on at night, because they will come in the night when you guys are asleep and ambush you.
And so your secret was nightly diligence?
Yeah.
Just to reiterate, okay.
Keeping a guard, keeping a... yeah, I know. It's so funny how fucked you guys are on, like, ranger things now, right when you're going on this super long quest. Like, you guys... I mean,
Yeah.
you guys got some pretty sick combos with, Leif's character doesn't need to sleep and can summon a familiar with good perception, so that's pretty good.
True.
Yeah.
I think I can cast, like, alarm, too, if need
Yeah,
be.
you guys have some spells now, too, that can do that shit.
This whole time, DeMarcus is strictly interested in making sure that Johoff doesn't get in any fights.
Okay, yeah. Is Johoff starting shit at all?
Not just yet. I mean, there's very much like a sense of it's the first time outside of Milestone, so it's like a big deal. But like he's eyeing a few people up and down. Like he's thinking maybe he can take a few of them.
Yeah, so it's
Be
like
a good way to start a road trip.
it's like a really warm November day, but it's still like a little cold and crisp because you're this far up north. And like Johoff is, well, did he get the tattoo that makes him like immune to cold or resistant to it?
Yeah, but I don't remember what we decided if he needed to have it activated or not.
Oh yeah, fuck. I think it'll be more fun for story if he's actually cold.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Okay, so
Does cold resistance just like technically make you not get cold?
you know what's interesting about that is I was looking in the environmental survivable section of the DM's guide for no reason. I'm not gonna make you guys roll for anything. Don't worry. Anyways, it says if you have resistance to cold, you don't need to roll for like sub-zero temperatures where you would start dying. So Terran's gonna be solid.
Like right now, Terran looks like the most comfortable he's ever been.
Yeah.
I love it.
He's gonna ask around about dragon sightings, just because. Everyone else seems to be handling the important stuff.
Oh yeah. So the second you start asking around, you get like some. Let's do, I don't know, persuasion roll, something. I guess you could do investigation. That's what everybody else is doing. But yeah, we'll say persuasion. Anyways, what happens is you ask around, and you're getting kind of like pushed away by groups of people who are like, I don't want to talk to this guy. Who the fuck are you? Like, we're here with our group. Like, who's this loner coming around? And but then one guy comes up. It's like, you want to talk about dragons? I'll talk to you about dragons, man. I've seen 5,000 dragons. You got any gold? I got a great story.
Oh my god.
This is the guy that Joe Hoff is going to kick the shit out of later, I can already tell.
I got a gold. I got a dragon for every piece of gold you got in that bag there. It's a nice bag. It's looks a little heavy.
Terran thanks him, but doesn't bite.
Hey man, you know where I'm at. Gold per
Alright,
dragon.
I'll keep that in mind.
All right.
Vazir is going to make his way around and try and find a person that knows maybe some herbs or things that could help against the cold.
Roll. Fuck. I feel like investigation still makes sense here. There's not like a good ability here for it. Yeah, I mean, just investigation. See if you can find somebody.
Woo! Nailed.
You get some guy who's really drunk telling you about how if you stuff your pants with straw, that'll keep the cold out. And that's it.
Nice. Cool.
Sorry.
Unless I can find someone else that's not as drunk. Any druid-looking folks around, or competent rangers?
No, I mean you guys already tracked down a competent ranger. He's just old and grizzled and isn't going to give up information without money. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, Isolde, if you want to correct the guy, tells you about the straw.
Nope.
It's a good thing this is not a combat.
Clearly not.
We're all gonna get up tomorrow morning. Stuff.
You guys are such out-of-towners. Oh my god. Come in here and embarrass yourself. Okay, does anybody else have things they want to do at the tavern?
If I could get my full 10 gold worth out of that old ranger.
Yeah, for sure.
So, watch our ass at night, but I'm curious, the general... I assume we have, like, ice and frozen-like enemies up here, like Frost Giant or Frost Orc or something cold.
Yeah.
But I'm curious if fire damage is either always advantageous, only occasionally advantageous, if there's specific sort of damage dealing other than fire that would be helpful, or stuff that generally doesn't work, other than cold attacks against these kinds of creatures.
Yeah, so he'd basically tell you that put enough arrows in anything and it usually dies. That's his experience. But fire is, if you can conjure it up, is pretty potent up here in the north. Ice doesn't do much, as most things live and breathe ice here.
Right. Got it. Just fire them. Sure.
And let's just say for that 10 gold, he gives like some pointers about like some areas in the Lurkwood, and I'm not gonna like put it in like actual details, but I'm just gonna say maybe it gives you +1 to your survival checks as a group or something like that.
Nice.
For
Money well
the
spent.
for the Lurkwood section.
Got it.
Nope.
Much appreciated.
I can't remember if I did a voice for him, so he just nods. I think I did it all abstract. So, do you guys have anything else you wanted to do socially? Otherwise, we do basically the market, which we don't have to like. I don't have to throw you back on that scene. And then basically it's leaving Silvery Moon. Though I assume Missile will go to the library, and I forgot to make that scene, and I'm so sorry. I actually had art for it too. I'll just throw the art in the Discord.
We could save it for next time.
What, the library stuff?
Yeah. If you had like shit planned,
I don't.
rather, yeah.
I don't have any like in the library. You'll find this thing planned. But if you have, as per usual, when it comes to library stuff, it's usually sort of like a you have to request something in particular, and then I will see if you get lucky and find it. Because otherwise, I'd just be like, you discover that, the city of Mirabar was established in 17, or in 70, whatever. And you're like, that's great, but,
Yeah. Let me just check my notes here. I guess we could roll for details on Zymorvin, the wizard, that we should check in.
Sure. Why don't you roll an investigation for that, and we'll count that as like your trip to the library.
Okay. More importantly than Zymorvin would be more specifics on Arathator, the white dragon.
Yeah. Okay. We'll bundle that together then.
Sure. So let me bring up my sheet. This is investigation?
Yeah.
Okay, hang on 1 second.
Well, let's do the Zymorvin first, and then we'll do the... I guess it'd be history for Arathator. So investigation for Zymorvin. What you know about Zymorvin is that he is a relatively famous wizard who is a very successful adventurer who basically built his own hall in the last 100 years or so outside of Silvery Moon, kind of on the Roven Road, not far off of it. So, or whatever that road's called. Sorry, I'll look at it again. That's not the right map. Yeah, the Roven Road. And he was just like a generally good wizard who practiced like transmutation magic for the most part. And you've never met him, but you might have run with some people that had at some point.
Okay.
And then for the Arathator, you find and confirm he goes by the White Death. You know that he was listed as having attacked the Tower of Arcane in Luskan, where this magic artifact that you tracked down before was located. So it's all kind of like adding up that this dragon definitely did this. You know that he is somewhere up in living like on an iceberg in the sea of moving ice, and that he's been known to stir up a lot of trouble. He's associated with a great deal of kind of big bads. And what else? He has he has like spawned some dragon children, so he's been around for a while. I guess you would put him at probably an adult white dragon. He's not ancient.
Got it. Anything that can be exploited at a roll of 18 for strategic advantage?
Knowing that he's not a full ancient dragon is pretty big, I think.
Got it. Much thanks.
Yeah.
And about those late fees, my background grants me library access as a cloistered scholar, and I have a working knowledge of personnel and bureaucracy around the world, and so I'll just flash a business card of some higher up librarian to try to resolve those late fees.
Yeah, make a persuasion roll with advantage, and we'll see if you're able to. Okay, yeah, they only charge you 25 gold, even though the original sum was 25,000 gold or something ridiculous. And you talk them down.
Right.
Yeah.
I hand it over.
You make some sort of speech about how fees are designed around a human lifespan, but as a gnome you live much longer, and that these are unreasonable expectations.
And interest accrues negatively at such a scale.
Also, you hook them up with one of the books that Marin let you take from or a transcription of a book from the lower level of the guild, and you don't tell them where it's from, but that definitely wins their hearts. Okay, well, we can kind of end it here. I think we're at a good stopping point.
Dope.
Oh, I was gonna show you that fucking sweet thing.
What fucking sweet thing? What's up?
I'm looking for it. There you go. That's what the library looks like in Silverman.
Ooh, looks cozy.
And in the middle of it, by the way, and I guess I'll tell you this much, is a floating but defunct and non-active Mythalar, which is this ancient Netherese technology. And it is like the broken version of the thing that Marin got to work in the guild.
Broken version of the sun? Or broken version? Okay. Cool. We're gonna get that down and up and working.
Somehow Marin did it. Okay, I mean, now we're kind of at the end of, and I was kind of calling this session 0 of chapter 2. It's so funny to think of it that way, because then it's all of the woes of a D&D campaign is how do we get the characters to all agree to a backstory, and how did they meet? And we're yeah, you guys have a pretty long history together, and that's pretty easy to refer back to. So we're well equipped to start this next campaign, basically.
So cool.
We've spanned full lifetimes. DeMarcus and Leaward grew up together, and DeMarcus got to see Leaward die, and so
yeah,
there's a full lifetime there.
Demarcus is pretty satisfied with life right now, so.
He's moved on. Yeah,
All right.
it's a sign of good grieving. Yeah.
So the other thing I was thinking of is like kind of cleaning up, like I forget what spring cleaning on like character stuff. What things you want to make. So you have that Silvery Moon price list now, market prices. So I basically was going to say that anything on that Silvery Moon market up to 6,000 gold is something that you could make with the dragon corpse.
Cool.
If that's... Oh, no, Wand of the War Mage is way more expensive. What the fuck? Okay, let's make it 10,000 gold then. So you have 10,000 gold of this market price worth of magic items. If you want to split it and do like a, you know, if you want to get everybody, if you want to make basically 5+1 weapons out of it, you can. But obviously that has diminishing returns.
Sure.
Nope.
I will look at like a lot of this, but if the others look at it as well, and like there's something super cool that would work really well with the way your character's set up, and you want to share the pot, do share.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, depending on our intuitions about where this is heading, rings of warmth are always on the table.
Yeah, you might stock up on those. That could be a good...
They're 2,100 a piece, so...
Yeah, you could get 5 of them. And Terran is naturally resistant to cold, and yeah.
How much would you say it would cost
Yeah, that's pretty
if
good.
Izzy went out and tried to buy like proper furs and stuff for people?
Oh, I'd say proper fur is like 15 gold a piece.
Okay.
But then I'm not gonna make it too difficult. Like you can't wear your armor and wear the fur. I'm not gonna do that. I think I'm just gonna like, if you guys put in the investment. But the problem with furs is that like if you guys fall into a river, those furs won't be useful. You know, that kind of shit.
Yeah. She was gonna kind of encourage people, especially people wearing really fancy armor, to wear furs and hides kind of over that while they're traveling.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Sweet. Would I be able to sort of? Well, I guess I can't craft armor. I was gonna say, like, just try and turn my hide armor that I have and attach the furs to it.
Yeah, I
Or
mean
do
you could just put furs on top of it, basically.
Okay.
Wear like a long coat or something. But you guys have this the guild prices available for spending your guild coins, and then you've got the Silvery Moon prices available for spending your gold.
Sean, what was the deal with Mithril armor again? Like, if we were to like retcon it and make it so that Demarcus ended up getting it over the last couple weeks?
Oh, you would have had to spend money on it, right? You were going to spend your guild coins on it?
Yeah, it's 80 guild coins. I
Yeah.
can do it.
So here's the deal with Mithril. It's basically you're paying the 80 to Mithrilize your armor, so you would still have to pay the full price of plate, which I guess you have a set of plate armor. So yeah, I guess we could just allow you to pay the 80 and it would Mithrilize it.
Okay.
So,
yeah,
yeah.
I'll think about it. Likely, I would have done that
So,
before you left.
Mithril-
Demarcus did
No, I'm saying that's fine. We're lumping all of the purchasing into one thing, even though narratively they were split up.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
I will offer up. I have 25 guild coins left after I buy my +1 vicious hand axe, so I will hand that over to Demarcus.
Let's see. Go ahead, John.
I would just say, highly recommend paying attention to attunement slots, because this will become like a it's at this level it's going to start becoming an issue. You can only be attuned to so many items, so check with me to make sure if you have a magic item that I've given you that whether or not it requires attunement.
Does
that changes a
the
lot.
hand axe?
If it's just violent or the whatever it is, vicious
Hand axe.
no, it shouldn't require
+1.
attunement.
Okay. I think it's just the Ring of a Monitor and my Ioun Stone then.
Yeah.
I think the rings will if you end up making a bunch of
Ring of Warmth
rings of
will.
warmth.
I think the basic rule is that anything that adds a passive effect is going to do it. So like if you've got like a +2 weapon, that's fine. But if it's a +2 weapon that gives you resistance to necrotic damage or something, then it's gonna start, like require attunement. But I'm not 100% sure on that rule.